This Thanksgiving, fear wears a familiar face. It's that of the V for Vendetta Guy Fawkes mask? I think Eli Roth returns to the horror genre to bring you Thanksgiving. Stay tuned if you dare, for the table is set for this feast of a slasher. And we're slashing all the meat. There may not be leftovers. There aren't going to be leftovers.
Do I scare you?
I'm such a corny asshole. I don't know why I even try to do stupid shit, but that there you have a cold open from me. I was about to point. I'll still get it wrong anyway. Joining me is the other half of the CNC Movie Factory. It's Cody.
Hello.
I'm not there yet. Yes, Sean, thank you for the €2 super chat debrief still happening tomorrow. That's over on this guy's network, the home base, if you will. And yeah, if we reach 500 in super chats, then it'll definitely happen. So no
Yes.
pressure.
Anything less than 500 is just going to be Rudy talking about relationships. So you choose your fate.
Rude advice.
Yeah.
Are you in a dead bed? Yes, my wife lives 6,000 miles away. I am in a dead bed, you dick. But yeah, we're here to talk about Thanksgiving. We're going to spoil it. So,
Wait, hang on. We're going to spoil things, guys. I'm going to count down from 97 to give you enough time to get out of the video. 97, 96, 96 and a half, 95. Spoilers. Spoilers ahead. There will be spoilers in this video at some point. Spoilers.
Yeah, and just in case, we're going to talk about spoiler stuff that happens in the movie, which this isn't a Blumhouse movie. I was shocked to see that. I think Columbia did this, and the trailer has third act stuff in it, and damned if it's just like, can you guys make can you guys make like teasers anymore? Can you like just whet the palate without having to entice us with third act shit? I'm not allowed to highlight. I see.
You're not?
Yeah.
You should have full control.
Yeah. No. I can ban somebody.
Oh, which one are we highlighting?
I was just gonna highlight what Nikki doing Nikki things said. Yeah. Yes, we're probably gonna be doing spoilers. But thanks for asking. So premise of the movie is Thanksgiving. Oh, Clayton, $5 super chat. Thank you for 2 of my favorite YouTubers. Love it to kick it with you guys and to kick it with you. Cheers. Thank you very much. So I feel like this, we both have this mentality that it has this nice subtext on consumerism, and
It starts
just
to.
yeah. The movie opens with 2 families having Thanksgiving dinner, and for a hot minute there, without Cody correcting me, I thought that was the same house.
I did as
And
well in the theater, to be honest with you. But after a second, I was confused, and then I saw the I was like, "Oh, this is two different households." That's
yeah,
weird editing.
yeah, that it's a really bizarre choice to like even the shot selection was made differently, but they don't distinguish that we're in two separate houses before we go into these matching shots inside. And I was like, that's really weird,
Mhm.
because the way that like they were having a conversation, somebody was getting ready because he had to work, because they were opening, we're just going to call it Walmart because that's essentially what it is. Um, because they're opening on Thanksgiving now. And the way that the shot presentation was an old woman looks to the head of the table where the owner of the Walmart business is sitting. And you know, the way they trick you, like, with the imagery, is to make you think that everybody's in the same house. But like you said, after thinking about it, it's it doesn't make sense, because one house is a bit posh and the wallpaper is really, they have wall sconces and, you know, just really expensive. Meanwhile, the first shot you see is like a POV and a very peeping Tom, and the door handle is a fucking hockey stick, and you're like, wait a minute, there's no way that this family lives in. But it's very, very shoddy the way they present that. And Eli Roth, the one thing I'll give him, um, it, he's been under Quentin Tarantino's wing for decades. He should know better. Like, I don't know how the fuck he let that slip without throwing in just some sort of way to let you know, here, you're somewhere else. Even if it's, if you want to do the match cut thing, that's fine, but you got to let us know that we're in separate. I got to stop looking at the stupid things you're putting at the bottom. Even if you like just split it up somehow, just the match cut thing, still do it. That's fine. Because I remember thinking, wait, this guy's got to go to work, but he's relatives with the guy who owns the place that he works at. Like, dude, give him the day off. He just cooked your fucking turkey, but he didn't make his turkey. Um, and so that had me rattled for a bit. Did you have any issues with the pre-Krampus scene?
No, like you, I had the same confusion for a second with the way that they framed it. They didn't establish the second house, and so I thought Patrick Dempsey was walking into the same house where Gina McGershawn and Rick Hoffman were both at. But after a minute, I figured out what was going on. But I did remember it was. I didn't mention it in my review, but I did remember thinking that was edited a little weird.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sloppy. It's just, you know, if it's a first timer, or like if the studio had their fingerprints all over it, like, I can kind of understand that, but it's a $15 million budget, and Eli Roth kind of has carte blanche with stuff, and he should know better.
Mhm.
But above all else, the Boston accents felt really authentic. Um, if you're into that, if you want to see a bunch of douchebags with a bit of a the town type accent, there's that. So the guy from the first house, the hockey stick door handle house, has to go work. He's working a shift at the local Walmart where they're giving a waffle iron
Mhm.
away to the first couple of customers. And the the owner, who is the dude who talks too much in the locker room in Hostel.
Mhm.
I call him
Rick
Keith.
Hoffman.
Rick Hoffman, yeah, because he's always, no matter what he
He's always
does,
the same character.
his teeth
He's
always
always the
stick out.
fucking guy where you're just like, that dude's a fucking cock. I can just tell.
Yeah, like when you watch Mandalorian and Bill Burr is Bill Burr in Mandalorian, you're like, method. And so the guy who owns the Walmart, his daughter gets together with a bunch of other high school friends and they go and use their privilege and fuck around in the store
What I
while
thought
there's
was funny about that, and this is where they're really trying to establish, like, do not take this seriously whatsoever, is they're going to a party or some shit or a football game, and the guy's like, "Oh, fuck, I need a new phone. This building that has 700 people standing in front of it, let's go in here for 5 minutes and get a phone." And I was just like, I was like, dude, it's not a 5-minute trip if there's 8 people in that fucking store. What are you doing? And so that's the moment where I was just like, oh, this is going to be intentionally silly. Okay. But yeah,
yeah,
they slip through the back door because she, you know, has blood rights to the place.
yeah.
And, and
And
this
then
is
people are
where
like, hey, wait a minute.
this is where I started to get really, really worried about the characters and the dialogue because yeah, you had like the characters are written to be douchey enough, and this is not meant to be a slight at East Coast people, but the stereotype of Boston douchebag, they take that and they put that on like 2 or 3 of the characters and crank it to 11. And so you've got one Letterman jacket douchebag with Boston accent versus other Letterman jacket douchebag with a Boston accent. And their whole exchange outside, it's like, what? Fuck you, man. Suck my dick, bro. Fuck you. And like, I was like,
Yeah,
is this going to be the dialogue the whole movie? And then, yeah, so they're, you know, puffing each other's chests. And then as soon as they get into the store that's cleaned up for this sale, they're like, fucking go long, bro, go
yeah,
long.
yeah,
And just, I was like, oh, I hate them all already. Um, and then, yeah, everybody gets pissed off that there's privileged kids that are already inside the store. I do like the detail, which again, it leans into the don't take this seriously part of the satire of they're ready to murder each other over a $15 free waffle iron.
Grace says different colored jackets, though.
Yes, yes, exactly. Red versus blue.
Yeah,
Choose your
yeah.
side.
The dialogue that they had going in was that they, oh, did you see me kick that dude's ass? And like that was your setup for why, like the inciting factor, so to speak. Like why the like if the other kid had to play in a football game too, how is he at the front of the line? Like, don't you got to get ready for this football game that everybody's going to, or maybe it was a party or something? Again, bad job on letting us know where we're going, what we're doing, and all of that shit. All right, we're at a Walmart. Shit's going down, and then, um, Dreamboat, Patrick Dempsey, who's a police officer, escorts Gina Gershon, who is the wife of the guy in the poorhouse that
Mhm.
has to work there, and then she brings him dinner, which again, the guy brought turkey to the table. You would think he would just, grab a couple of bites for the drive or something like that. Like, there's like really nitpicky shit that if you wanted to, you could shred this movie.
That detail, have you worked retail?
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
I did a
on Black
double
Friday?
on Black Friday. Yeah,
Okay.
it
Okay, cool. I
sucks.
can't condescend then. But you
Go
but
ahead,
no
keep going.
yeah.
East Coast
Yeah.
retail. What else you got?
Yeah. But, I've been in that situation where they want you to when it started to become Black Thursday, that's when
Yeah,
I had my little stint for 4 years in retail, where they want you to go and you have to get there 3 hours early to set the store, and he was a manager too, so maybe even 4 hours early. So he probably booked it. They all ate their dinner, sat,
yeah,
watched a half of the football game, and then she moseyed her ass over there with the leftover plate.
yeah, yeah. The sense of time is a little odd.
Mhm,
But she's escorted in with a police officer, Patrick Dempsey's character, which again, um, blood rights, police rights. There's some sort of commentary, um, and there's two people on security, and Tim Dillon, the comedian, is one of them. And they're like standing half a foot apart from one another. And um, once things get out of hand, Tim Dillon books it, and well, people start getting trampled. There's a scene where like a guy literally breaks through the glass door, and that's some sort of gore. I forget how Gina Gershon falls on the ground, and like there was a lot of skin slivers that I noticed that were like it was her hair that got pulled out, but they made it look like it was, if you were cutting a turkey, like the hair took that much, like a slice of skin off of her face, which I thought that wouldn't be enough to kill somebody. I don't think.
You're gonna nitpick the fuck out of this movie from
Well,
start to finish, aren't
well,
you?
no, I might be. I don't know.
I think she got also.
Did she get trampled? Yeah,
They slammed the cart into her skull. So, and it just after, I think she had blunt force trauma to the fucking brain, and then
that's fair.
then the other chick was trying to get away and scalped her.
Yeah, I'm just going on my tainted images and like what stuck out to me, and I was like, oh, I like this. I liked it better when it was in Krampus and way faster. But yeah, then there's a kid. Eli Roth does not know teenagers for shit. He doesn't know how teens talk. That's for certain. The one thing he does understand is like social media culture and how the kid stood on top and he was just like filming everything. And yet another movie where they got the whole Instagram, TikTok vibe where like the thing just kept raining thumbs up. Meanwhile, people are dying and shit. You're like, what the fuck? And that was the football kid, wasn't it? Who was filming everything? And that video went viral, and we just kind of lose a bunch of people in that stampede, and it just kind of fast forwards a year.
Mm-hmm.
And I forget how we get there to the next year, if it was maybe just a title card where it says 1 year later or something.
Yeah,
shit?
Patrick Dempsey screams and shoots at the ceiling after he realizes that Gina Gershon is dead. He's like, "Stop!" and shoots, and then it
in the
goes to
air,
black,
right?
and it says 1 year later,
Yeah.
or it says Thanksgiving, and then it opens on the shot of the town, I believe, and says 1 year
Mhm.
later.
Yeah. Was that sufficient for you? Did you get enough information there to
Yeah.
well, yeah, you what, you give it 3.5. You're
Mhm.
I mean, we're not too far off on it. I gave it a 3 out of 5, but
Yeah, I
from
thought
you
the opening was fine to kick everything off. I thought it's set up enough to where, I mean, the Thanksgiving in and of itself is a weird holiday to comment on. I
Mhm.
mean, it's a holiday where we all get together, we have food, and we celebrate the first Americans that came to this country that chilled and had dinner with people that they then slaughtered and stole all their land.
Yeah.
So there's a very dark, humorous attempt or potential to comment on the holiday, but it's also synonymous with Black Friday. So the opening just told me, oh, okay, so we're going to lean Black Friday. Um, it established enough about like, okay, well, clearly this is going to play into the killer's motive somehow. And the only issue that I had up in that the opening was just the writing of the characters. I was like, oh, I hope it gets better. It doesn't, but
Has Eli Roth ever written characters that are good for you?
not for me. I just filmed my ranking today, and a consistent issue that I have with pretty much all of his movies, outside of maybe The House with a Clock on Its Walls, but that's just so far removed from his other
Mm,
stuff.
yeah.
And Death Wish maybe, where I don't like his dialogue. I don't care for most of his characters, and I really don't operate on his wavelength of humor. I've had a lot of
Yeah.
people tell me that this was easily his funniest movie, and I was like, "Really? I didn't I didn't laugh
Y
once."
yeah, as somebody who's a fan of Inglorious Bastards, when the 2 women who were fighting over their spot in the parking lot, and the woman says, "2 hits, 1, I hit you, you hit the ground." I'm like, "Oh, cool, that line from Inglorious Bastards that Eli Roth says, from a far superior writer." Remember that? Remember when Eli Roth said that? "2
Yeah.
hits, I hit you, you hit the ground." Oh,
Yeah,
man.
I rewatched Cabin Fever for the first time in a few
Oh,
years last night, and that was like the perfect that and The Green Inferno is the worst example for me of his humor, but the Cabin Fever being a movie that I do like was just an example where his humor and what makes me laugh are
yeah,
opposite wavelengths. We have the whole thing in Green Inferno where the girl gets bubble guts and rushes to the corner of the cage to shit, and it's like
yeah.
it's the most cartoon shitting sound.
Yeah, yeah, a bunch of Foley work. It's just like, wait,
And
just
it
why?
and that's even Knock Knock to a degree, which leans into it at least, and you have Keanu Reeves kind of giving all colors of what a Keanu Reeves performance is in that movie.
And Ana
Uh,
de Armas, the
yes, yes.
secret
He's
of
got
that
an eye
movie.
for
Holy
talent.
shit, yes, he
Um,
does.
but, uh, but yeah, even in that movie, there's some attempts at goofiness where it's just like, I don't know, like, he's kinda got that juvenile frat boy sense of humor, and it
I
just
don't know if
doesn't
it's
do much
juvenile.
for
I
me.
just think he's stuck in, like, this fraternity mindset, and
Mhm.
I don't know if, like, he
And
just
that's how
thinks
he writes his
everybody's like,
characters.
yeah, like, Quentin Tarantino has this way of putting you in this universe where people speak a certain way, and it's, like, believable because Tarantino, I don't know, puts better effort into it. I don't wanna assume, but, like, the shit that people talk about in Tarantino flicks are a bit more like, they're nothing, they're like Seinfeld episodes, but they're just meatier,
Mhm.
where, like, when Eli Roth is world building, it's just like this world where everybody's this douchebag frat boy mentality, and when they had that discussion about
Black Sabbath.
Black Sabbath, I was like,
Out of nowhere.
"What
I was
the
like,
fuck?"
not one person you're talking to knows who Ronnie James Dio is.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, "What these kids were, like, not even born by half yet when Dio joined Black Sabbath. What the fuck are you talking about?"
Yeah.
Because they were talking about, yeah, it was they were, like, in a van, like, "Yeah, uh, Ozzy, when he left Black Sabbath, people think that that was the most miserable thing that happened, but little did they know that the greatest gift to Black Sabbath was a man by the name of Ronnie
Yeah.
James Dio," and it's just like,
And then you get old Scuba, he's like, "What's Black Sabbath?" And he's like, "Get
yeah.
the fuck off my porch."
It's exactly. It's like
That whole party behind you would be evicted if that was
yeah,
the fucking prerequisite.
take the cell phones out. Just have it take place
Mhm.
fucking 30 years ago if you wanna have that kind of dialogue, because who the fuck is that up to, like, stop. The same group of people that need to stop to get a cell phone so that they can send texts, because those are so easy to set up. You just roll in and buy a burner and you're
Mhm.
texting in no time. Um, Lucas, Knock Knock is hilarious, takes
Takes
itself
itself
so
so
serious.
serious.
I don't think so. I think it no like that scene where I uploaded it to my TikTok where
Free
Keanu
fucking
Ree
pizza!
yeah, "It was free fucking pizza. What you want me to do? You guys
You
suck
won't
my
suck my
cock."
cock!
It was just so silly, like
It's funny because it's Keanu Reeves.
yeah,
Ke
yeah,
his goofiness sells it.
yeah, yeah, it's
"You're gonna fucking kill me? Why? What did I do?"
it is I am an FBI agent levels of Keanu. What are
Yes.
you doing with your acting right now?
Yeah.
It's just it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous to see Keanu, and I'm betting the house that like he was encouraged to do that, and
He's
there are
got that Nicolas Cage quality where it's just like, let him cook.
yeah,
You just
yeah,
let him do whatever the fuck he's gonna do with that page of dialogue.
yeah, yeah, and Nicolas Cage was more known for it, and John Wick Keanu Reeves, the less you say, the better, the more of a badass you are. Same thing with The Matrix. And you have this movie before all of that, and it's just Keanu Reeves being just an absolute joke fest. Listening to Eli Roth attempt to write humor like listening to Brian Lomax try to defend Critters, painful and confusing. I think Brian could write humor better than Eli Roth. And Brian's sense of humor.
Too far here. Hold the phone.
I mean, it's just douchey college dude bro thing. Like that's all.
It's one note. It's
Yeah.
across all of his films. That's what all of the humor is. That's what it was in Cabin Fever. That's what it is in Hostel. That's what it is in Green Inferno. That's what it is here.
Yeah.
And I have not enjoyed any attempt at it to where it's just like, dude, come on, Dr. Mambo, come on. Like whatever he was doing in Cabin Fever, I'm just like, what is this, man? Or the fucking kid on the bench, pancakes. Like those are moments where I think Eli Roth fanatics would say that's what makes Cabin Fever stand out, that weird kookiness. And for me, it's like, take that shit out. That doesn't belong there. What does that establish? So yeah. He's very much like Rob Zombie to me. A less egregious version of Rob Zombie, because I like most of Eli Roth's films, where a lot of what he does I really like, and I think he does very well, but there's certain things that he doesn't do well for my taste that he just is stuck on and will not budge from it. And the odd thing about it was he didn't write this one. And I would have bet the house that this was an Eli Roth script because it has all the same Eli Roth traditional issues.
It's him with the dude with. Wait, are you? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, but he helped with the story, but the screenplay was written by somebody else.
The Cabin Fever guy.
Is it the guy that wrote Cabin Fever?
Yeah, it's the same duo that did Cabin Fever, did Thanksgiving.
Okay, but yeah, it's just funny to me because I came out of the movie and I was like, oh, like even on my little out of theater reaction, I was like, yep, that was an Eli Roth film. And when I got home and realized it wasn't him that wrote it, I was like, well, what the fuck, man? Like that would be like Rob Zombie getting somebody else to do the screenplay, and the first 8 minutes is like, cunt, bitch, skull fuck, and it's like, what the hell was the point of getting somebody else to write that shit?
I like your writing style. Thank you.
Exactly. You and me are on the same wavelength, brother. But
finally a change of pace.
Yeah.
Wait, what? But yeah, and I don't know who Addison Rae is, and full credit to that influencer.
A TikToker.
She felt fine to me. I didn't notice anything out of place as far as.
Yeah, she was fine. For me, the teenage characters ranged from fine to unlikable. Nobody rose above fine.
But purposely so.
Even the final girl, I couldn't tell you one thing about her right now if you put a gun to my head.
Yeah. Yeah, and the woman who I'm adding it up now. I was going to say the woman who got burnt. That was the fiance whose brilliant idea it was to open on Thanksgiving because, the fiance is the most genius person in the history of capitalism. That was implied. Did you feel like it was a straight slasher movie or a whodunit? Because I've seen that debate, and I'm like, it's a slasher.
Both?
I don't. Well, yeah, that's
it was in the vein of,
yeah.
to me, it had the style of an 80s B movie slasher, but it also kind of took a page out of Scream's book. To where you have this mass killer running around, you have a whodunit aspect where we don't know who it is, we don't know what the motivation is, and you're waiting for that reveal. But yeah, I mean, it's this is what I said in my my like Twitter blurb about it. I said Thanksgiving is like an 80s B movie slasher or a schlocky 80s slasher that you picked up at Blockbuster just because the VHS cover was cool. And there's really good things that come with that. There's really bad things that come with that. To me, that's kind of a really nondescript way to sum up my thoughts on the movie. Like I thought that we're still going to go through the plot, I imagine, but
Yeah.
I really thought the kills were cool. I thought that when the gore was practical, which is most of it, it was really well done. There was
Mhm.
some CGI stuff that didn't look very good at all, and I don't know if it was because it's just genuinely bad CGI or if it just looked worse because we had all this practical stuff to compare it to.
Mhm.
I like the look of John Carver. I actually think it had like a simplistic look that I dug, so I was cool with that. Um, I thought that the movie was paced out pretty well until the third act. The third act felt very multiple ending syndrome to me, in the last 10 to 15 minutes where it kept feeling like it was gonna end and then it kept going.
Yeah.
And then I I I wasn't really that thrilled with the reveal regarding the killer's identity or the motive.
Or the motive, right, the
Yeah,
motive. Get the fuck out of
the
here.
identity felt so obvious throughout the movie that I was really hoping it was just a red herring, and the motivation felt tacked on, when to me, there was a much more clever motivation that was there the whole movie, to the point where I was actually shocked they didn't go that route. We'll elaborate
Mhm.
on that when we get there.
Mhm.
But, but yeah, like I dug it as a slasher movie. I look forward to rewatching it, but it was just the characters and the dialogue that held it back so much for me because it just never got any better on that front for me. I was just like, "Fuck, man, give me somebody to like." And
Yeah.
at best, the character I had to that I could like the most was just like, "Oh, what's her face that didn't die till," just it let me down on the character front.
Yeah, the characters didn't really like, they don't give you enough information, which is always a complaint about horror movies, and I've seen somebody compare it to Scream, like you just mentioned, and the problem with the, like, whodunit, slash Scream comparisons are in Scream, they're, accusing each other as people get picked off. So there's no like everybody's a douchebag, but they also trust each other and they're worried and they're
Mhm.
afraid and, grouping together while one by one gets picked off and like, there would be some sort of all right, how about you sleep over there and I'm gonna lock the door behind you. Like there's no sort of if it's got that Scream element to it, even Scream, you have that moment where people like, it wasn't me, it was him, and like I was here. I mean, shit, right in the first act, right after Drew Barrymore dies, they're making jokes at the high school and making really out of color remarks about how she died, and that's how you write something distasteful. Um, uh, uh, but, show don't tell. I guess better route. Eli Roth, of course, he's just notorious for, going that extra step when it comes to gore. But on the flip side of the show don't tell, the like he telegraphs who the killer is with multiple times where a certain
Spoilers,
message
guys. Spoilers.
s-
Spoilers ahead. Spoilers, 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 spoiler. SPOILER. Spoiler, spoilers.
yes, yes.
Do you
So
know what all this is in reference to? Me leaning so hard into this, by the way.
I think I do. I don't wanna say in case I'm wrong.
Say it in case you're wrong.
No.
So I usually do just a non-spoiler review. I don't get into spoilers, and sometimes I'll do a spoiler review if there's enough to talk about. There wasn't in this case, but I wanted to talk about the identity of the killer to elaborate on what I was talking about and hinting at with the social commentary. And so in my review at the end, I say, okay, well, I'm not going to talk anything specific now, but I'm going to talk spoilers after the rating. And then I give my final negative in vague terms. I do my rating as I normally do. And then I say, okay, guys, now I'm going to talk a little more specific about my negative. And then I start talking about the identity of the killer and the motive. And I got like a dozen comments in an hour saying that I blatantly spoiled the movie and I didn't give any warning and this shit. So I was like, what the fuck? And dude, I have put spoiler alert in big ballooned letters and had people bitch that they didn't see it. I have said spoiler alert out loud, and so it
A
was.
lot of people have that
I'm
happen
I'm leaning I'm leaning
too.
into it just to kind of be a smart ass. So
Well,
yeah,
good for you.
I
I mean, it's in the title, for the love of Pete.
I added it to the title afterwards, but yeah, this one it is. But yeah, I added it to my title after about an hour. But I was just like, Jesus Christ, how many warnings do I have to give?
Yeah, the first line of dialogue is from Patrick Dempsey's character, who's a police officer, and he's like, "Have you seen somebody golden brown complexion, about 15 inches, no, 15 pounds, no head?" And there was that, and it's like, oh, he's talking about Turkey. And then at the parade, Turkey
Well,
gets
even
beheaded.
immediately after that, he gives her the pie, and he's like, "I know my way around an oven."
Oh, fuck! Good catch. Yes. Yeah,
It
and
was
then
that and the fact that he showed up so many times throughout the movie to where
yeah,
they had to establish he was nearby.
yeah.
That's what did it for me, to where I was just like, okay, if that wasn't subtle enough, he's always within reach to
I
give you an idea of how he's always there, and then he just changes really quick like Scooby Doo.
when he
But yeah,
when he showed up to when the woman was hanging from the Walmart thing, I got serious Dexter season 4, uh, Trinity Killer daughter, the reporter, being the
mhm,
first one there vibes, because he, like, breaks through the crowd and he looks up and I'm like, "Where have I seen this before? This is very familiar."
yeah,
But
they
yeah, I didn't even pick up on I was too busy like leaning on my face with the heavy-handed, "Oh, you won't be single for much longer," with whatever the fuck Gina Gershon says to him, and it's just like, "Eh, really? It looks like it's a store-bought," and, like, if you see the pumpkin pie, it's like there's, like, crumbs and, like, the crust is just fucked. Like, is that what Plymouth thinks good cooking is? Good baking?
You
It
sure you gave this a 3 out of
yeah.
5? You're giving, like, 1 out of 5 energy.
Well,
Like,
no,
"The fucking pie was store-bought, fucking crumbs
oh,
in
these are
view."
nitpicks. These are nitpicks.
Fucking Eli Roth bringing in this bullshit sweet potato pie, telling me it's pumpkin pie. Know the difference, bitch.
Dude, don't take your 3.4, trauma out on me. But yeah, I didn't even think of the oven thing, but yeah, a lot was kinda, like, drip dry. Like, they were giving you a slow feed of, "Guys, hint, hint, here's
Mhm.
something for later." Um, and the fact that the kid, like, why did the kid hide? The kid, he said he broke his arm, the football star whose video of the event
He
was,
just left town because his career his sports career was over.
but
He
he
was, like,
wasn't,
the star pitcher or something.
yeah, wasn't he the one who filmed and got,
No,
like, super oh,
that was
see,
the douchebag guy, not the
they look
boyfriend.
so alike, those 2, fuck.
Yeah, the guy with the long hair was the douchebag who needed the new phone, and he popped open the brand new phone, and it was immediately on,
Oh, yeah, fully
filming
charged
everybody.
and and ready to go, he knew how to work it.
The other guy was the guy, he looked like he might have been, like, a mixed, like, Puerto Rican or something like that, and
Yeah, but they
he
both
he
had the same
left.
hairstyle too, and I was like,
Eh, one was a little more ethnic, but anyway, regardless, hair
ethnic.
differences. Uh, he broke his arm, and so they were like, they opened that up where there's like, yeah, the guy who was the star quarterback had his career-ending injury, and so presumably that's why he just fucking booked out of town. Was like, my life's over, fuck this place. So yeah, that's why he wasn't there.
They just had the same jackets. Yeah,
Mhm,
same frat, I forgot. If you've seen one, you've seen them all, Greg, good point.
mhm.
But, yeah, I thought they were making excuses and he was, like, into hiding because he went viral off of his
Mm-mm.
video of the massacre, so I I was confused as to, like, why. So again, I feel like I need to watch it again. I certainly do, to
You
have a
need to
much
watch it
more,
in HD,
yeah,
sir.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's just very lot of I was at one of those old school theaters where smoking is still allowed, so it was just, like,
Yeah.
really hazy to see everything through. My uncle takes me to weird places sometimes. I don't know what to tell
Mhm.
you. But there's just certain elements where I feel like information could have been given to you better. And again, it's a horror movie. We're supposed to give shortcuts and breaks to stuff like that. Like, what do you want from a horror? It's a horror movie.
You know, I liked it way more than you did, but I hate that mentality.
I agree.
I hate that mentality of, "Well, it's a horror movie, it's supposed to be bad." And that
Yeah.
seems to be the defense whenever I don't give glowing praise to the new flavor of the month, is like, you know, "You're being too hard on this. You're reviewing this." Somebody said, "You're reviewing this like it's Godfather." I'm like, "Because I want decent dialogue and
Yeah.
one fucking character that I like?" Like, that's not Godfather, that's fucking any movie. And so, yeah, I don't know. We're never going to get better if we keep saying that's good enough to everything. And if you love this, if you love the characters, if you love the dialogue, that's one thing. But if you
Yeah.
didn't and you're just like, it's a horror movie, as long as the kills are good, everything else is great. No.
Yeah. Like, there are things that I compare this to in my letterbox review that I feel like are, are on the right path. The opening scene, the trampling, whatever. I feel like Doherty does it better in far less time in Krampus. You get a hell of a lot more
I don't
of
remember shit about Krampus.
yeah, it was just the title sequence. It was just like people going fucking bonkers, and to
Mhm,
juxtapose it, they had like Christmas music that was all like cheerful and
mhm.
slow and family, whatever. While people were just shredding each other apart, trying to get the latest, I don't know, Cabbage Patch doll or whatever. But that is a far more fun experience for me, and it's a horror movie, and I even think it's PG-13. So
Yeah, I think there's a rated R cut. I'm sure there's a unrated cut actually on Blu-ray because I bought it, but I haven't watched it yet. But I only watched Krampus once. I wasn't a big fan of it.
hmm,
I'd
okay.
probably I need to check out the R-rated cut next month for sure.
Yeah, and then you did watch the right Krampus, right? Because there's like 79 Krampuses
Yeah, the
movies
one
after.
from Trick or Treat guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Krampus, like every year after that, like our buddies over at Red Wine Media decided to just fucking rip it off. Krampus Unleashed. What the fuck? I forgot what the
Mhm.
hell they're called. Fuck them. Um, but yeah, there's that. And as far as gore is concerned, if you're looking, to not really give a shit about dialogue, and you want really badass modern non-CGI gore, Jacob brought it up in the chat about the dumpster CGI.
Yeah, that
Um,
worried me when I saw that. I was like, "Oh, Eli, what are you doing?" Because
yeah,
he's had a few CGI shots. I forgot whenever I did my review. I was like, "I don't think he's used them before." He's used a couple, but usually with the kills and the gore, he's pretty much always practical. And
yeah,
when
he's
that
a
fucking
purist too, and it's just like,
when
what?
well, when the dumpster, like, first of all, it never made sense to me why the dumpster would have bisected her anyway. It would have just, if
Mm,
anything, it would have just broke her fucking back. But anyway, yeah, that's me, I guess, maybe nitpicking. But yeah, the dumpster thing closes, her body bisects, and her intestines come out, and it was terrible CGI. And I was like,
yeah,
oh, this is the first fucking kill of the movie. Oh no.
yeah,
Luckily, it was pretty much all practical after that. But
and shot for shot replication of the Halloween 2 1981, where the face goes into the boiling water. Jason X, where the face goes into the, Terminator 2 frozen nitrogen, but her face gets smashed because it's frozen immediately. Same beginning to this kill. He dunks her head in water, but um, we're never really led to believe whether or not it's hot or cold or whatever. But he opens the freezer door and slams her cheek on the thing, so it gets stuck, like a nod to A Christmas Story. And again, flesh, a sliver of flesh comes off and stays on the door. And when she gets out, she's trying to use the phone, which is what, like face activated or whatever.
I thought that was clever. I thought
I
that
don't
was a
disagree.
clever I thought
I
that
don't
was a
disagree.
clever kill because usually in modern slashers, that's always some kind of a logic issue where it's like, well, everybody's got phones now. This would never work. And that took the time to mangle her face and her fingers so she couldn't fingerprint recognize, she couldn't face recognize, and she's like, "What the fuck?" She's trying to call for
Oh,
help and
right, it's her
can't.
fingers.
And so I like that. I wouldn't be surprised if Eli Roth said, "Yeah, that was inspiration from Halloween 2 or Jason X," but I didn't see that when I saw it. That wasn't where my brain went automatically was, "Oh, this is homage." It was just like, "Oh, this is a creative way to mangle her way to open up her phone." So,
Mm, I'd be surprised if that was a happy coincidence because like
he
the
loves homages, so like I said, I wouldn't be
oh yeah.
surprised. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, there's
Cabin Fever's got an Evil Dead shot where the dog's POV. It's got the under the ash shot from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and you there was something else that we mentioned that was right out of a movie, but yeah.
yeah, I
Oh,
felt like
Halloween at the beginning of this one where the breathing
yeah,
and walking up to the door. Yeah.
Is this cop okay? Because he doesn't wear a mask and he's just, walking up to a door.
Mhm.
Um, what did I have? The score, um, never really jumped out at me. I never really
I
felt
can agree with
the
that.
score,
Yeah.
which
I don't know if he had the same guy. The guy that he worked with on Cabin Fever also did the Hostel movies, and Cabin Fever more so had a pretty good score. But yeah, I forgot to even talk about the score because I didn't even it
yeah,
didn't make any impact on me. I don't even know if there
yeah.
was one.
And when you like Terrifier 2, I don't think there's a score for that bedroom scene. When you're in shock that much, I'll go to a film that is not really a horror, but it's more a realistic horror. There's a scene in a French film called Irreversible where this 10-minute long struggle snuggle, no music, camera doesn't move. It's just you're just dealing with the worst fucking thing imaginable. And you don't need music for everything, but this wasn't that hardcore to where it could get away with just,
Oh, they could have had a score. It's got
yeah.
that B movie flavor where you could have had something throwback in there.
Yeah, it
I'd have to watch it again to try to listen to what the actual score is, but yeah, it didn't make an impact on me enough to even remember to mention it, so
it's weird. It felt like early 2000s mainstream horror. Like I kept comparing it to Valentine.
mhm.
Nathan Barr did the score for Cabin Fever and both Hostels. He also did the score for The Americans and FX. He was missed here. Well, whoever did it here is certainly, mm, yeah. We need an Easter horror movie? No, we don't. Please, please, no more.
Evil. No, you give the Winnie the Pooh
Christ
people will
of the
get there
Dead.
before long. Evil Easter Bunny.
Yeah, Winnie the Pooh. Um, the mask, you were okay with the mask, huh?
Yeah. To me, it was simplistic, but it was cool. I liked it. I mean, it wasn't like I'm not ready to put that in like a top 10,
Mm,
but, sometimes I think the slasher designs are better when they're simpler. You think of like The Collector.
hmm.
So,
That was a neat mask. I
yeah.
was trying to figure out what the fuck that was made of. That was a
Yeah.
really,
To
really
me,
neat mask.
it was simple, but I liked it. Just a plain black suit, pilgrim hat, darker colored old man mask, and a fucking axe. It
Yeah.
worked.
There was a couple on standby too, if I recall correctly, where like th there was at least 2 where oh no, there was the scene where like there
He
was a
melted it a
clown
little
mask.
bit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, so there's that. I got see like again, it reminded me of Valentine. I don't know it
Did
the
you speaking of homages, the scene in the parade where they're all waiting for a John Carver, and then the clown pops up, and that's him. Did you
Mhm.
feel a little Dark Knight in there, like a reverse
Yes.
Dark Knight? Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yes. Yeah, and again, another kill there, and the fact that they're, like, shocked and, the dialogue in the immediate after that scene, it was just like, you would think some parents would be scarred witnessing, the turkey at their parade get beheaded, but, I guess, over in Massachusetts, they're rather hardcore. More concerned with other shit. Um, yeah, I was trying to avoid that. Good job, Cody. The the homage thing, there's a Friday the 13th kind of, or, Carrie. It definitely had that. Is it done? Are we getting one last jump scare? And we kind of do
The
at
dream
the end.
sequence at the very
Yeah.
end, I thought that sucked. That's the
Yeah.
one thing that I forgot to mention it in my review, but I thought that was terrible. The way that it was edited, it was so, like, jarring. It
Mhm.
went from her laying there and, think, "Oh, is somebody in the closet? I'm gonna wake this guy up. No, I'm not," for some weird reason. And then, yeah, you get the CGI. "Ah!" He comes out, and then she, like, opens her eyes, and then it just quick cuts to punk rock and, title sequences, and I was like, "That was fucking dumb." That was part of the whole multiple ending syndrome to where there was, like, 3 other points in the last 10 minutes where it felt like they were about to wrap it up, and they kept going, and that was I didn't
Yeah.
like that at all.
Yeah, her focusing on the firefighter, it was just like, well, show him. Like, but, have her, like, point him out or something,
Mhm.
and then you have the dialogue over it where it's like, "Nobody could have survived through that. We didn't find anything," and it's just like, "Listen, I
Sure.
I just watched
This is
soup
this is not my
catch
first
fire."
rodeo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, the trauma should have lingered more. Well, that's for the sequel, Tiger Man. You gotta follow
Mhm.
the rules.
How did you
Um,
feel about the kills kinda leaning into the Thanksgiving theme where, like, he puts the corn cob holders and,
yeah,
cooks the chicken, carves her like a turkey, and she's all
yeah. I for some reason I kind of wish it was a man. Like I don't know, a woman in that position with, like, in the oven. It was just like, thank you, Eli, for not going the extra Eli route and putting a flap over, um, where openings are on the human
Mhm.
body, and, because he's gone the extra step to be a little, "Oh, too
I
much."
appreciated that he didn't go full exploitation hostile route
Right,
in this because,
right.
something I said is that to me, this might be his most rewatchable movie because of that.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah,
movies like Hostel, The Green Inferno, they go pretty extreme to where it's like, I don't know if I wanna experience this again." Cabin Fever and this, I think, on the gore level are like, okay. Like,
yeah.
I wouldn't feel weird about rewatching this in a couple of months.
It's other than the acting and the lack of score, I feel like it's a very by the numbers studio mainstream horror movie, and, I think it tied the Marvels this weekend for 3rd, which is, yeah, um,
Is
that's
that a
just
statement
something.
on this or the Marvels?
That's a statement on the Marvels.
Would
Um,
you have preferred that he went the direction that the Grindhouse trailer was, where it's a little more dark, exploitative, grimy than the bright, well-lit, well-produced studio horror movie?
I don't know. I like, he gave me enough from, like, the Grindhouse trailer, like, the one thing that I somebody said it before, and I'll touch on it. The Friday the 13th remake, the one thing that I really loved when Jason was just popping knives up through the floor, and the
Mhm.
guy's like, "Get off the floor!" And like my first thought would be like, "How do you get off the floor? Like, what are you supposed to do?" But they have something very similar where a girl who I don't remember if I know she was topless in the trailer, but in the
The
mock
trampoline.
trailer. Yeah, the trampoline. What did I say?
Oh, I don't know. I was just
Oh, yeah, I was thinking of a different T word. Um, so she's just, bouncing up and down topless. I don't think she was topless in the studio version,
mhm.
but we do get the knives through the
Yeah, in the
um
trailer, she splits her legs and it comes down on her
oh! Oh, yeah,
her
in the Grindhouse one. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. And it's one of those things, like, I love horror movies that make you kinda like, if they go after, like, your, Achilles heel, like the Judd kill in the original Pet Sematary.
Mhm.
Oh, where you're like, just, "Oh, man, no, it's not that much," but it I feel it. I feel it looking at it.
Mhm.
It's horrible, and to get, like, stabbed through the feet while you're coming full force down on it,
Mhm.
or if you wanna pay tribute to the Grindhouse version, that's, interesting way to get penetrated, like, it's just ouch. The Grindhouse trailer is better than this movie. Yes, that scene certainly, yes, but that's 2 minutes, it doesn't tell a story. Well, of the kill, certainly. Absolutely, give me the Grindhouse trailer version. He had some money, he had some lights, and, I actually I I give him credit for not doing the shit the shit that I exploit on most of my videos with the static and the fucking analog film burns and that
Mhm.
grindhouse feel, like, good for you. Rob Zombie has kind of cornered that market while you've been off doing like regular people movies with Jack Black and remaking Death Wish. The grindhouse film burn subgenre has kind of passed you by, and he has enough money. Give us a wide shot. You don't have to focus too hard. This is why I give it a 3, because I feel like this would be a great gateway drug of sorts for horror, for people who like just regular old Scream, um, and maybe don't understand why gore is such a big deal. This you if you get them to watch this, and then they have some amount of a decent time with it, then you kinda, "Alright, well, here's something like Terrifier, see how you feel about that." Alright, yeah, I know, there's no plot, but, watch the sequel. How do you feel about that?
Possibly. Possibly. I mean, like I said, it's 80s throwback,
Yeah, oh, yeah,
paint by numbers slasher with Eli Roth gore.
and Eli Roth terminology just, ugh,
Yeah. Yeah.
ugh.
Jacob says, I like movies that know what they are. This felt like it was putting on airs, not smart enough to be taken seriously, but not campy enough to accept the flaws.
Airs? I don't understand that term. It was putting on airs?
Is that more Eli Roth terminology?
Yeah, what? What? I don't
I
get
know what
your
he's saying though about the it's in that funny middle where as a reviewer I have trouble because I'll get people that tell me, like I said earlier, like you're taking this too seriously, you're reviewing this too harshly, this is
yeah,
supposed to be dumb.
film criticism.
But at the same time, it's not really dumb enough for me to buy into that. Like,
Mm,
it's taking itself seriously enough for me to take it seriously, but then it wants to lean back on the safety blanket of, "Well, this is supposed to be silly," and it's not far enough in either direction, so I think I agree with Jacob on that. Um, but, But yeah, whenever it ramped up and we started to get characters killed off, we got the chick who had the corn cob ears, and then she gets disemboweled on the saw. Um, that was a good kill. You got the parade was pretty awesome, where the fucking like the canoe or whatever went through the dude's face, and it was just freaking exploding out blood. I liked how we were slowly setting up the dinner table. Like characters were getting taken, and we didn't hear or see from them in like 15 minutes. And I was like, what is the grand finale going to be? And you get to the dinner table, and it was, the two people that have already been killed. Everybody else is tied up. He's gonna have his little, Scooby-Doo, this is why I'm doing this moment with his voice changer. He brings out the fucking mallet, and the one dude that I was waiting to get killed the longest because he was just the biggest fucking douchebag gets it the worst, with the fucking just splatter in his head with the damn mallet. And then he brings out the turkey, and this was the only moment where it started to lean hostile a little too much for me, where he's carving the leg, and
that was consistency.
Rick Hoffman vomiting through the gag. I was like, oh, there's your hostile for you.
Well, that was consistency, because he kept doing that. He kept taking pieces of people, kept, a sliver, white meat, dark meat. So, whatever, like the way we cut a turkey, that was a through line that I'll give him credit for. But yes, putting a human being in an oven and setting them up like a turkey. Why not put an apple in her mouth? Like, go the full 9.
We don't serve a turkey with a head on it.
Fair enough. Yeah, it's not pig. Yeah, it's a good point.
Bastard.
Well, look, I'm not. I'm just. Listen, we both agree that was a bridge too far. So if you're gonna do it, might as well put all the dressings and shit on there.
Yeah, I liked how they did that. The only bummed out thing about that was that was the moment I realized that Rick Hoffman wasn't going to be the killer, and I was like, oh, it's going to be Patrick Dempsey. Then there's no other person that makes any sense.
Yeah,
because like to me. So eventually it's revealed that Patrick Dempsey is the killer. And as I said, he was the most obvious pick throughout the movie, to the point where I was really hoping it wasn't going to be him. Because I was like, come on, please don't make it that easy to figure it out. But nonetheless, he has like some shrubs or something on his fucking foot that she recognizes from when she was chased. And so he turns around. He's like, "Yeah, it was me, and I did it because." And then
you had to jump that fence or some shit like that.
If you would have been on the fence 1 second longer.
Yeah.
So you get the little flashback, and it turns out he was fucking Gina Gershon. And then it pans down, and it shows that it's his. She was pregnant, and it's like, okay, so his girlfriend and his unborn child presumably were killed, and that's why he's doing all of this.
I'll take Friday. I'll take Brian's side in this. It does Friday the 13th a little bit, with the giving you all this information for motive at the end, and it's like,
well, yeah, and that's what bummed me out, because I was like, that was the only thing that I held back. Like I was like, okay, well, it's obviously going to be Patrick Dempsey at this point if this dude's vomiting at the sight of his wife.
Yeah.
But maybe they have a cool motivation for him, and I'll like it. And they dropped the ball on that, because it just felt so like. What's a motivation? Fucking, oh, dead kid. Okay, cool. Good job. All right, we're gonna put that in there. And like, to me, and I try not to judge movies based off of what I would have done, but to me, this movie set this up so much to where it opens up with the Black Friday thing. And we're talking about consumerism and hysteria. And they even go as far as to make it so ridiculous that these people are doing this to get a free waffle iron that's some weird fucking off brand that probably costs $10
that'll break just in 2 uses.
Yeah, which is just using exaggeration to comment on how silly people are, that you're gonna stampede each other to get a discount on some shit you don't even need.
Yeah.
And so very clearly the movie from the beginning is like, okay, we're going to comment on that. And then it doesn't really talk about that at all throughout the rest of the movie. And so to me, I was like, my wheels were turning throughout the movie, and I was like, okay, it's probably going to be Patrick Dempsey because that's so obvious, but I hope it's not, because that's just kind of lame. And I started to think about who else it could be and what their motivation could be. And for me, they kept showing Rick Hoffman, where he's trying to shoot his commercial, and he's bitching because the protesters, and I want to open up my fucking store again, and god damn it, all this bullshit. And so I was waiting. I was like, you know, that would actually be really clever. And this is what I would have done. I would have made Rick Hoffman the killer, and his motivation for taking revenge on all of these people that incited this riot is because they're fucking with his sales.
Cost his company money. Yeah.
Exactly. And so it would have looped back around, and you would have the killer giving that same exact commentary from the reverse standpoint of, now you're all going to die for my greed.
Yeah.
And I to me, that would have been really clever while still being stupid and silly enough to fit the B movie goofiness that they were going for. And just to me, it was almost set up perfectly to where I was like, oh, that's going to be really funny when they finally do that. And then it's just Patrick Dempsey.
I'll
And
push
because I
back
can't go
a
ahead.
little bit. First of all, the second the turkey gets beheaded, I'm like, Patrick Dempsey. Um, hey, listen, they never say anybody's aged, but you'd be surprised.
Yeah, go ahead.
Um, the woman who said the store should have been closed, she who gets dumpster halved by, what was it, like a garbage truck, or she gets crashed
Yeah, she
into.
was at the front of the line
Yeah,
screaming at everybody.
she was one of the first complainers that the store shouldn't even be open this year. I would have been pleased, or felt like the person who had the most motive was the guy who had to work, whose wife he witnessed die in front of him, who brought him, leftovers so that he could have something to eat because he had to
Mhm,
work at this bullshit retail job.
mhm.
Like, and then they even had a scene where he's like being interviewed on TV, and I was like, "Oh, this is a bit too much if it's gonna be him," because he's like, "We shouldn't even have to. This store shouldn't be."
I thought it was so on the nose with the red
Yeah,
herring side with him, especially after the parade when it showed him putting on the John Carver outfit. I was like, guess it's not him.
yeah.
And so, yeah, I understand where you're going at, but yeah, to
It
me,
would.
they even more so than Patrick Dempsey, they hammed his side of it up on the red herring side to where it's just like, this is your obvious red herring, and this is your not obvious red herring, Mr. Dempsey.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to kill the non-teens as well, you know, it makes sense for the guy who had to work and who lost his wife. Obviously, he didn't know, nor did we, that Patrick Dempsey was banging her, except for that, like, pseudo flirtation. You're not going to be single for long if you keep bringing Entenmann's pumpkin
Mary
pies to people.
calendars.
Yeah, fucking $6 frozen pumpkin pie to my house. um, Other than that, there's no hint as to like them being, canoodling. So he had the perfect motivation to be seeking revenge on their family. And again, this is with my mentality that they were at the same party. So after speaking to you and finding out that it was just edited weird, it was like, okay, so he wouldn't know that the fiance came up with the idea for him to work. Is the bar so low that bringing discount pie is for playing with the dice? If and when you see it, it's just like the way she words it. She's like, "Ooh, you're not going to be single for very much longer," and it's like, the pie looks terrible. Like there's crumbs all over the top, and it's just like, really, is that good for you? Okay. Well, to be fair, they work at Walmart, so
Uh,
not no jabs taken. I'm just saying, uh, beggars and choosers is what I'm saying. I'm not, you know, the the owners of the Walmart house wouldn't have that pie anywhere near them is what I'm trying to say. Two different. If they gave us a juxtaposition of, this is what the employees' Thanksgiving is like, and this is what the people who own the businesses' Thanksgiving is like. Instead, they just kind of like made it so edited tightly where like you don't notice many differences, and the way the shot selection was made, it was really really confusing to me. And uh I'm glad I spoke to you. Who doesn't want some Dempsey pie?
You know what's hilarious is like Patrick Dempsey has been known for the past 20 years as like the dreamy guy.
Yeah.
When I know him from the 80s as playing the quintessential nerdy dude that can't get pussy anywhere. And so he's had like two fucking sides to his career that's so funny to me. Like his whole like Grey's Anatomy McDreamy side is always battling the fucking Can't Buy Me Love side for me.
Yeah, doesn't he have some bullshit role in Scream 3 too?
Yeah, he's the detective that's like the red herring again, where every time he comes around, yeah, he's like, all I know about trilogies is in the third one, all bets are off.
Ugh.
Call me if you hear anything. Sydney. And then canonically, that's her husband now, I guess, is his character.
A crossover.
Mm-hmm.
It's Boston, one little train ride to New York. Scream 7 / Thanksgiving 2.
What's your favorite scary movie? I can't do a Boston, but yeah, that would give it away pretty quickly.
Have it yet?
Wonder who Ghostface is. Maybe he's hanging out in the car.
Meet us in the pack at Have It Yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, motivation. Again, well, you said it. It's a horror movie. It's a slasher movie. So, who really cares about that? That's like a bullshit out. Like I'd like to know the motivation. Even if you have to Kevin Smith it and tell me, which they do at the end, but there's nothing that kind of really assists that other than the opening scene where he brings a pumpkin pie to that house, which like we don't know. You would think that he's friends with the guy, the way the guy answers the door and says, "Come on in," and he's banging
fucking his friend's wife. Yeah,
that's nice.
Yeah,
nice.
So they set it up. They give enough there to where you can excuse it away as not being a Pamela Voorhees situation where he goes there. They have their little flirtation. When the massacre happens, when he sees her dead body, that's when he's like, "Stop!" and shoots the thing. So there's enough there, but to me, that was just like the lamest version that we could have gotten.
Yeah,
like,
dude, stay home.
I'm cool with Patrick Dempsey being a killer. I like Patrick Dempsey, and it's cool to see that side of him. I just wish they gave him a better motivation if it had to be him. Because when they give that, I was just like,
yeah,
that's kind of lame. Like the motivation is half the fun in a whodunit, not just who it is. You think back to the original Scream. It's like, oh, it's Billy and Stu. Oh, that's kind of crazy because we thought it was him, and then we thought it wasn't. But then what's the reason? Oh, and there's even that whole line of dialogue about, oh, maybe it's this, or maybe it's because your mom was fucking my father, and you're like, oh, okay, putting the pieces together.
Yeah, and that's cool. I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, the way that Patrick Dempsey so coolly was like, you notice the marks on my shoes. Like I just wish there was a little bit more to it than, you got me. Like it's just
I was fine with it because she was the last one left anyway. So he's just like, whatever, I guess I'll kill her now then.
Yeah. And
until she hold up the cell phone, he had all the cards. He was like, oh, fuck this bitch. Who's gonna believe her? I'm the
just
sheriff.
Thumbs up hearts and all this other shit on the phone. Yeah. It's just like
I did like that line reversal where he's like, you should see the look on your face, and then but you should see the look on your face, and that was cool.
Yeah. It's
How did you feel about the truck being chained and the musket to the inflating turkey to defeat the killer?
I mean, I'll take it. I'll take it. Sure. But like you had to show us that it was connected to a tank that has an explosive. Usually it's
it does.
Air or is helium that explosive?
I'm pretty certain it did show that it was corrosive or flammable or something. Maybe it didn't.
No, they showed you the tank where it says flammable, this is gas, to let you know, hey, if she shoots this thing and boom, boom. But yeah, the musket thing, it was like, oh, thank God we had that line forever ago about how dad used to teach her how to fucking
Mhm.
load a musket, and it's just
Eli Roth with his writing is the king of that, though, where he puts in a detail that is so, like, unnecessarily in it to where it stands out like a sore thumb just to justify something later. Like, that's a classic Eli Roth script writing thing. You look at Cabin Fever, there's a line in the first 15 minutes of that movie where they're talking to the weird older guy at the little In-N-Out Mart, and they're like, "What's that rifle for?" And he's like, "Oh, that's for black people." And he doesn't say black people, and they're like, and it's meant to like, oh,
it's
they're racist
Chekhov's gun.
rednecks.
Yeah.
And so then at the end of the movie, a group of black people come into the store and he's like, "Oh, here we go. I got it all polished up for you." And it's like, "Oh, so that was a just to set up a joke. That's weird." And then he does it a couple other times. Like he did it in even in this movie. You got the character's name is Scuba, and they all call him Scuba throughout the entire movie. And it's only there so that one of the adults would go, "So why do they call you Scuba?" And he goes, "Because my last name is Diving." And it's like
Mm.
it's like a weird
Yeah.
setup for a punchline. And yeah, so
Yeah.
he does that a
Yeah.
lot in his script writing where he just throws in this random detail that you're like, that's a random line of dialogue to justify something 45 minutes later.
Right. Well,
It doesn't feel it's not naturally woven in. It's like, oh, we got to have
it's
some
shoehorned.
explanation for this. So let's
Yeah.
shove it in here. Yeah,
There's a like this is like early in screenwriting.
exactly.
Pen, pineapple, pen.
And pineapple apple pen.
Oh, oh, I don't know what
If
that
the
is.
reference goes over your head, that's fine.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Where it if you show a loaded gun, it's called Chekhov's gun. If you show a loaded gun, you better have it go off.
Mhm.
Shaun of the Dead does it, or they even like have a line of dialogue that it's like, it's just a prop. There's no way. And at the end of Shaun of the Dead, they end up he shoots one of the zombies, and Nick Frost is like, "See, I told you." Um, and yeah, to have this musket thing, show us that. Don't tell us about it. Show us that you know how to do it. I mean, movie's not that long. You could have shown us that. It's just a little bit of a shortcut. It's a trope. It's a writing trope, especially with guns. If you're gonna, bring up guns and them being loaded, you better shoot them. Otherwise, don't show it. And like little odd. Um, but yeah, the explosion. I'm wondering how much of the budget went towards that. Like, did we need that? Did we need a giant turkey exploding? We couldn't think of a tighter ending than just boom. Everything burnt, even the soup. There's no way that nobody could have possibly lived through that. Cue turkey Thanksgiving Kills where y- you know
Thanksgiving second helpings.
yeah, Mr. Carver was under, a basement whatever, and he starts killing.
Do you want a sequel to this?
um I I'll take it. It's what I gave it a 3. Like it's fine. Yeah, I've come to accept what Eli Roth is,
Mhm.
and and this kind of plays into that, well, as a slasher trope, um where people like, who cares? You're not supposed to like the characters. It's a slasher, and I don't like that as an easy out
No,
either. Like,
I don't buy into any of that. Like, it's one thing if you're telling me the movie's from 1982, so don't expect to like the characters or don't expect great dialogue, that's fine.
yeah,
It's
don't spend
2023.
$15 million on
It's
it then.
2023.
Yeah,
So, no, you can't do that excuse anymore where it's like, it's supposed to be bad. Like, to me, that's a cop out. If it was supposed to be bad, it would be written all over this fucking movie, and it's not. It takes itself seriously. It's trying to be really good in a lot of aspects, it might lean into the B movie side of it. It might lean into silliness, but it's not trying to be bad.
Yeah.
And so to me, that's always just a bullshit cop out. It's like, oh, he wrote him that way on purpose. No, he wrote it because he thought that was entertaining. It wasn't for me. And so, I enjoy it, but it's, as you already kind of said, it's what I expected from Eli Roth. And there's good with that, and there's bad with that.
Yeah.
Everything that he does well again here. Everything that he has struggled with, in my own personal opinion, he continues to struggle with here, even though he passed off script writing duties to somebody else, which is the weird thing.
Well, I think he did. It was like halvesies or some shit like
He
that.
did. He has story credit, but screenplay is all the other guy. So dialogue is all him.
Yeah, which means the 2 hits, I hit you, you go down.
Mhm.
Tarantino should get credit for that one. The thing that I had said in my written review was I like Eli Roth when he does stuff that's not realistic, not
Mhm.
in like a a possible world. Like this is something that could possibly happen. And I love how it's never like guns. We're never going to have a gun slasher because that really happens.
Well,
Although,
if you do that, then people aren't allowed to tell me the Terminator is not a slasher anymore. So that'll never
oh
happen.
no, Hollywood's doing it specifically to spite you.
Even if Art the Clown pulls out a Tommy gun, they're like, that doesn't fucking count. It's a dream sequence.
Right. It when he does things in like realistic settings, I feel like he just he goes off of like what his experience is, and
What's an unrealistic setting that he's done?
Hostel, the Hostel stuff, like the what if there's like this underground club where you have to get a tattoo and people like
You
it's
don't feel like Hostel's pretty believable as a reality with human trafficking and everything? Because that's what made that movie
to that length where you pay a certain amount of money and
fuck
torture
yeah. You don't
somebody?
think people do that?
I
If I saw a news article
Taken.
that they uncovered a club where a bunch of rich fucking Epstein motherfuckers were paying to kill people, I would believe it in a second. I would not be like, oh, that's false.
I think the side premise of Taken is a lot more real life. I think if people are going to pay for trafficking, they're going to want to fuck them, not kill them. Although granted, there might be some culture where you could have both and all of that. I don't understand horror fans who want unlikable characters. You're spending like 80% of the running time with the characters. Why would you want to hate them? To enjoy them dying, Jacob. That's why.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I felt like, there was enough creativity in the Hostel 1 and 2 where like you can't join unless you get this fucking dog tattoo. It plays right into like the American fear of not America. And as somebody who's been to Europe a whole bunch, it's just like they feel the same way about us. It's so funny like that we're just fucking maniacs. Everybody's got a gun and everybody's going to shoot each other. And we
let's all shoot guns and fuck. It's America. Hand me a Whopper, bitch.
Yeah, and his idea of playing into Americans not wanting to travel to certain parts of Europe, it was a unique what if for me. Granted, sure, there probably could be. I would assume that could probably happen with see, you brought the Epstein thing, but the Epstein thing is more, to get your rocks off. To buy someone to
I very
do whatever you want.
easily buy into the premise that there are people out there that are so rich and powerful that they would go to that extreme to just be able to do something new. It's kind of explored in an Infinity Pool from this year a little bit, where it's like going off to a fucking paradise is boring for these people because it's fuck, I do this every day. Who gives a shit? And so as a normie, as somebody that I don't ever expect to be rich or powerful enough to do any of that shit, I could very easily see a lot of rich and powerful motherfuckers that just that's the thing I haven't done. So I need to do it because I can I think it's Rick Hoffman's character in Hostel that says it, where he's like, dude, I've been all these places. I've been to Budapest. I've been to like pussy's pussy. It's all the same to me anymore. I don't even remember the chick I fucked last week. It's a variation of that.
Yeah.
And so that to me is a very plausible thing. That's one of the reasons why that movie fucked me up so bad the first time that I watched it, where I was just like, this shit is real. I'm never leaving fucking Georgia.
Bitch.
Yeah.
Fuck him. I take all my tough guy points away from you. But
don't take shit from nobody in this zip code.
I am not leaving this area.
Yeah. You visit me.
Where is it? Italy? No, fuck you.
Yeah.
I can make pizza in my backyard, motherfucker. But yeah, I think when it comes to Eli Roth, his best work is when he kind of does what if stories, and as much as you find it believable, it still is on the more absurd end of things. Like I compared that to Taken. Taken is when it comes to like trafficking and Epstein stuff like that. It would certainly be more like for things like that, drug the girl up and do what you want to a 19-year-old. But, keep doing that because, once they're no longer, having a heartbeat, what good are they unless you're into that kind of stuff? But yeah, I guess I can kind of understand. And I do like in the sequel, this is what I talked about in my 31, about how the sequel, like the two rich guys who were playing golf, and he's like, I bought you one. And the guy was like having second thoughts about it. And then like the twist of Hostel 2, spoiler for Hostel 2.
Private chat.
I can't. I don't know where. Did you take care of it? Because I don't.
I can't. 4 comments ago.
Yeah. What were you saying? Sorry. What was I saying? That you can compete?
We were just talking about Epstein and stuff like that. And so just, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Hostel to me, I mean, there's a bit of fantastical nature to it, especially in Hostel 2, where they expand on it with the reach and everything like that and how powerful that club is. But at least the little bit that we get in it in Hostel, to me, that was very, very close to reality. This is, it's plausible-ish, but they're also leaning into the silliness of it all. So I would say this leans a slightly further away from reality than Hostel does.
Further away from reality, really.
Mm-hmm.
Thanksgiving.
Just with the silliness of it, with putting a chick in the oven and making a turkey out of her, and displaying the dead body on the sign of Walmart, and the fucking Patrick Dempsey might as well have Jason Voorhees teleportation powers with how he's able to do everything by himself.
First one on the scene.
For a lot of the movie, I was like, there's got to be 2 killers, right? They're gonna do the Scream thing.
Oh, that'd be neat.
Yeah, so that was my other saving thing, where I was like, maybe it'll be him and Patrick Dempsey. Like, he's the obvious one, but the other guy will be the surprise. I don't know.
What if it's the 2 guys fucking Gina Gershon, and Gina Gershon told both of them that they're the father, and then at the very end, like, they take each other out.
Yeah, start stabbing each other, like, fucking hit me with the phone, dick.
Feel kind of woozy here.
Yeah.
Oh, Marcy, 5 a.m. Good morning. Cody, good morning. CeePo, we're going with CeePo, Marcy. Talk for the 17 Danish krona. Yes, it was amended. Yeah. No, 31 on 31's the debrief's tomorrow, right? We're not jumping off of that. Yeah, Trevor, we're tomorrow on that. This time tomorrow we'll be
Tomorrow
done
at
with all
6
that
p.m.
shit.
Eastern is what we've
Yeah,
all agreed to. So if anybody changes it, I'm slamming testicles.
yeah, yeah. So you're getting a double dose of us right before Thanksgiving. So yeah, I enjoy it considering it's a mainstream movie that didn't really lean on like anything stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Like that Eli Roth could have done, like the machete thing, and that was neat. Robert Rodriguez has got a hell of a sense of humor, and the things that he comes up with are incredible. And Quentin Tarantino, for as much as people don't like that movie, I quite enjoy Death Proof.
I do too.
Just the beginning, like if you're gonna do like the scratched film thing, either totally do it or don't. Like why stop halfway through and whatever the fuck. That was like a weird aesthetic choice. Um I this is maybe too polished looking. I mean, you brought it up early when we were talking. The lighting, there's no real tone to it that makes me feel horror movie, and that's why I keep comparing it to early 2000s like Scream ripoff. Like I kept getting Valentine vibes. I remember I was so excited for Valentine, this bullshit indistinct mask, and like it just I forget everything about it, including what the mask looked like. It was just so eh. If
Yeah.
CW were to make a horror movie, that's what Valentine is.
Mm-hmm.
And I got those vibes from the look of the killer here, the mask, but the gore certainly makes up for it. And this isn't the first time that, as far as subtext is concerned, that Eli Roth has had something to say about, classism, and rich versus poor, and the differences. He just doesn't really um go too far, which I always like when it comes to like extra layers within a movie that some people see, some people don't see. I always feel like, why didn't you just keep going? Like he even does it in Green Inferno, where the chick's going to some snazzy college in New York City, and then she's all about. I think she's vegan. It's the woman who's actually his wife. She was in Knock Knock too. The one who ends up shitting in the cage. Um, uh, it, she resorts to just being everything that she complains about, and it's funny when he challenges you when you're put in certain situations. How would you deal with it? And a lot of it is a welcome challenge. He just doesn't really go the whole distance. And considering this was a pretty clean studio glossy movie, the fact that he was able to do some traditional Eli Roth gory things, again, if it ends up being a gateway drug to shit like X, um Terrifier 2, which again, I don't like, but I let me take that back. I like it. The story isn't the strength of it though. And I would kind of say that about this too, but the FX work in Terrifier 2 is fantastic. Um they didn't need CGI. X, I feel like, is a complete movie that is a bit superior, and that's on a smaller budget. But
I'd say it's significantly superior, but
Terrifier 2 or X?
X.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and again, we kinda joked about this. Can you highlight that Marcy? Thank you. Marcy 45 Danish Chrono Talk. I'm still not a big fan of Eli Roth either with his writing or his directing. For me, his best movie with Death Wish because Joe Carnahan's involvement. Joe Carnahan is no fucking joke. Thanksgiving is one of Eli Roth's best movies for me. And it's clear.
It's in my top 3 of the 8.
Yeah, it and Letterboxd agrees. There's a big drop off. Thanksgiving is Letterboxd's favorite movie because it's got a 3.4 average, and then the next best thing is like 2.8, and then 2.6, then 2.3, then 2.0, and like so. As far as people, and it is opening weekend, and opening weekend usually people that want to see it the most are the ones who are running out to see it. So, give it 3 or 4 months, let it get to everybody's TVs and streaming services or their favorite uncle, and we'll see how it blends with the rest of them. But yeah, I would say top 3 Eli Roth directed films. But I oddly enough, I'm not stuffed. I would like a little bit more out of Thanksgiving. There's leftovers. X is actually smart enough to be taken seriously. Terrifier 2 is schlock by design. Thanksgiving tries to be both and fails for me. Not terrible though. There, Jacob. From now on, you just host my show, will you? Because fuck. How long did it take for me to get to those words? And you just said it.
He's like, Jesus fucking Christ! Here, say this.
Jacob doing punch up on me on the fly. Here, this is what you want to say. Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I have to say. I don't hate it. It's a 3 out of 5. It's sufficient. What has come out this year that has felt lazy? It feels like M. Night is back to just, he had his
Knock at the Cabin.
restoration. Yeah, I felt like that was just kind of.
Yeah, to me that got less interesting as it went along. It was really solid for the first act, and then it was kind of like wash, rinse, repeat, and then it just ends.
Yeah.
Like it was the one time where he needed a twist.
Old was awful.
Oh, I hated that fucking movie so bad.
But
5-year-old kids just went off and fucked in a tent. Isn't that hilarious?
Yeah, dude. When who did I go with? Shit. Tim, the late reviews. He doesn't do YouTube that much anymore. But what is yes, nefarious. Very, very. Yeah, we're not on Cody's channel. We're okay. Nobody will see us here. Fuck. What was I just talking about? God damn it, nefarious.
What has come out this year to be lazy? And then we were talking about M. Night and Knock at the Cabin and needing a twist, and then Old is terrible. And then I said 2 kids fucking in a tent. Isn't that hilarious? And then
Tim, the late reviews, and I don't know if it's still on this channel, but we went to a premiere of that one with the old people, the old movie, The Visit, and M. Night was there at the screening, and we were there with other YouTubers that were like, they were on a Wii YouTube channel, Boyfriend versus Girlfriend, I think were there, and we were like, to the side of where they were sitting, and M. Night thought it was funny about the old people having Alzheimer's, and it was like, do you what? Why is that funny? Like that should be horrifying. It's horrifying for family members to witness their grandparent. Do you care about anybody you're related to there, M. Night? Because like what you're saying does not make sense. And I don't think that YouTube channel exists anymore because there's documentation of him saying exactly that for their show. And it's like, wait, why is that's not funny? Like there was people laughing at really weird points, and that's what he was aiming for. And it's a movie that's like horrifying. Anybody that's dealt with somebody who, has anything close to Alzheimer's or anything neurological, it's scary. Getting old sucks. It's funny how many shows and movies deal with our fear of aging and dying. And here's M. Night on this YouTube channel. Like, don't old people that make you laugh? They died. It's funny. Like, what? What the fuck is wrong with you?
He's got a weird sense of humor too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know how we got to M. Night. I apologize. Speaking of memory loss. But your score is 3.5 out of 5?
Yeah, 3.5 is what I gave it.
Yeah, I'm a 3.
And for reference, I think the two films, I don't think I've given an Eli Roth film higher than 3.75.
Yeah.
Like my number one, maybe I gave it a 4 when I first saw it, but my number one Eli Roth film is like a 3.75 out of 5 movie to me.
Which one was that? Is that
We'll find out tomorrow.
Oh, I can't. I know the answer, but fuck you guys.
Yeah. Ain't gonna catch me slipping, bitch.
I'm trying to think what, as far as horror in the year 2023 thus far, Renfield, better presented, more fun. Not, I mean, if you're looking for gore, you'll get it from Thanksgiving. Saw X, I feel like you get everything, and Saw X is a very, very good movie.
Yeah, I liked Renfield more than this. I liked Saw X more than this. I liked Talk to Me more than this. I Scream 6 is kind of right there, even with it. Different set of problems.
Totally Killer. I have Totally Killer above it.
I like Totally Killer more than this.
Megan, whatever.
I think Megan has less problems than Thanksgiving, but Thanksgiving's strengths are higher than any of Megan's strengths for me. I would rather rewatch this than Megan.
Yeah.
I probably would rate Megan higher than this, but I would rewatch this before I would rewatch Megan.
That's a good point. Megan is something we've seen before, and it's essentially it's modern day Child's Play
2019 with a chick.
Or even Child's Play 1988 with modern technology.
Evil Dead Rise, people are saying. I
had see 2 of them I haven't watched are Talk to Me, which is I'll watch it on the flight or some shit, and Evil Dead Rise. Scream 6, yeah, that is, you can have that one. That one's below it. Knock at the Cabin I have below it. Winnie the Pooh is the worst.
Or below it.
Yep. And Skinamarink is...
That's still my least favorite movie of the year.
Yep, ditto. And Skinamarink is not too far ahead of that.
Skinamarink is still my... Well, maybe. It's in my bottom 3.
Yep, likewise.
And not because it's not a good idea or interesting idea or because it's not well made. It's just absolutely not for me.
Yeah. So, I mean... It depends on what you're looking for. There's
This is the best thing since Scream, Charles.
the first Scream, 1996 Scream.
That's what I'm being told.
For fuck's sake, man! People need to watch more movies, man. Jesus.
Best slasher we've gotten in decades.
Yeah, I don't. Guys, there's more than the 4 studios that release movies. Holy shit.
Yeah, for my money, we've gotten better slashers here recently. Like, I like what Thanksgiving's doing. I want to see more. I prefer what X did. To me, that's a better slasher.
And I hate Ty West.
Terrifier 2, I like more than this.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. If you need gore,
that's just the past 2 years.
If you need gore, I'd rather Terrifier 2 because it's no computer work. It's all VFX.
I have more fun with that, and I like the characters better.
Yeah. and the visuals are just fucking out
Yeah.
there.
No CGI with art.
Yeah.
Never.
And if you want like uh, a story where like you kind of want to give a shit about the people that are dying and have just a little bit of stakes, X is a far superior movie to Thanksgiving. I mean, like it's just riding the gimmick. Like it's just yeah, here's a holiday movie, a holiday horror movie. Why do people like X so much? I don't get it. It's good, but very familiar. Yeah, it homages Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but
The whole inside joke of that movie is you can make a well-made dirty movie.
yeah.
It's explicitly stated in the movie by one of the
Mhm.
characters. So it's an homage to Texas Chainsaw 70s slashers, but done with an artistic flair.
Yeah. Yeah.
And done with a visual flair, and it might be a little familiar what movie isn't to a certain extent, but not to say that I don't want to do the whataboutism, but I would say Thanksgiving is incredibly familiar to many movies.
Mm.
So but
But
X is
that's like
just
on
better made to
purpose.
me. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's got
It's hard
this
not to it's hard to do a movie that's 100% original nowadays. You're
Mhm.
always going to be homaging or paying tribute to something indirectly or not. But for what I liked out of the movies, I just really I was blown away by X. I loved X. That's still in my top probably 5 horror movies of the last few years.
Yeah, and if, you remember what, like, the movie closes with, it doesn't close with a jump scare, it closes with, a television where they're watching evangelical, whatever, and it's just, part of the messaging that either you could just see it as, "Oh, the old man left the TV on," or if you're listening to what's happening, there's 2 contrasting lines of thinking there with porn being a way to make money and y- I would suggest a double bill of X and or Boogie Nights just to because porn producers take themselves very seriously, and in film school they tell you porn is not art, and it's funny. It's a very interesting. Oh wow. Thank
You
you,
said
Blu-ray
that and I
Addict.
read it at the same time. Speaking of double features, not with all of the alcohol in the world.
Oh, oh. Yeah, that's bottom 2 for me. That's like if I were to have to rewatch everything I saw this year and start from the bottom. Original, what's that? Good point, Aaron. Good point. Yeah, Maxine and Terrifier 3. Um, yeah, if this ends up being a little like I didn't really like Happy Death Day on the first go around, but after watching it again and then the sequel, the way they took that Back to the Future kind of route, I was like, yeah, I could do with a little more of this. And you know, fuck it. Uh there it's better to have more shit to pick through than not. I mean, so give it a sequel. Fuck it. If I don't like it, I don't like it. If somebody does, then that's great. And keeps people in work and hopefully people uh go and see it. I'm a hypocrite. Instead of original content, we have 533 Marvel movies and spin-offs. That's what people want to see. It's
Not so much anymore.
yeah, it's starting to yeah. I think
Nowadays, it's like, that looks too familiar. No thanks.
yeah, I was waiting for like the actual weekend numbers to happen. Thanksgiving did beat the Marvels this weekend. Oh,
As it should. I see on Twitter they're already
by
starting to
200
spin
grand.
it. They're already trying to spin it positive and say that, the Marvels crossed 110 million or whatever they crossed.
Yeah,
This is the high
internationally.
this is the highest grossing movie ever directed by a black woman, which to me is just like, wow, that's crazy that's the top grossing movie by a black female director. But at the same time, it's like you're gonna try anything to spin this positive, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's doing all right internationally. America's like, no, we're not.
The
We're all.
movie's fine. It's okay. Like, I saw it. It's
The
okay.
first one was
It's
fine.
not worthy of any hate, but it's just
Yeah.
at the point where it's like Marvel especially, it's like you guys need to fucking slam on the brakes. Figure out what the fuck you're doing wrong and correct this shit because the MCU alone between TV and movies is just demolishing my interest in superhero stuff.
Yeah, I rewatched the Doctor Strange multiverse thing recently, and I was like,
Mhm.
"Oh yeah, that's right. Wanda's bad because she has kids," and like it.
I liked that one.
Listen, Sam Raimi.
I liked it
I'm
whenever it was
surprised.
Sam Raimi's movie.
Yeah, when
When it
you could
felt like
tell when it felt Sam
When it
Raimi.
felt like Kevin Feige was directing it, I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna go piss."
Yeah, yeah, especially like zombie Doctor Strange. It's like, oh, this is Sam Raimi. Like this
Yeah,
is
and all the quick
awesome.
crash
Yeah,
zooms
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah. It,
the
you
witch
know,
hands coming out of the fucking mirrors and stuff. When it was Evil Dead stuff, I was like, "Yeah,
yeah.
go ahead, Sam.
Let him cook. The guy
Tell
made
them they ain't fucking
the
telling you what to do."
the best fucking superhero movie before it was a big deal. The guy made both the first Spider-Man. Actually, he did. He made the third one too. But Spider-Man 2 is a lot of people's favorite
I love that
comic book
trilogy.
movie.
That's still one of my favorite trilogies of all time.
Sam Raimi knows what he's doing. Like, just trust him. And
Mhm.
I really wish we got Edgar Wright's Ant-Man, but I digest. Yeah. Thanksgiving made $3,217 per theater, while the Marvels made 2,511. So it made about $700 more per house, per screen, should I say.
There was more people in the Thursday night showing of Thanksgiving with me than there were people that were in the Marvels.
Yeah.
There was
Um,
about 12 people in the Thanksgiving. There was me and 7 other dudes watching the Marvels.
dudes. Interesting.
Yeah.
I was bored with the MCU after Iron Man 2, but that's just me. Yeah, I was too, but the Avengers.
The build up to Endgame
Yeah,
was pretty fucking unprecedented. I was
yeah,
just like, I gotta see everything. I don't even care if I know this character. This is gonna be fucking great.
yeah.
And
Infinity
then
War and Endgame. It was like, yeah, no, this was probably worth it. This was probably worth all of that bullshit that
mhm.
I've been sitting through for a decade. But yeah, now they're like, here, Eternals. What else can we do?
Mhm.
They're kind of spinning straw at this point, and they're not really making anything of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, um, but that's a completely different thing. So, final thoughts, Cody, on Thanksgiving. Is it a holiday classic? Is it something you'll throw in the mix? I remember you saying something else to watch with planes, trains, and automobiles and Dutch.
Yeah.
Does it go in your rotation?
It has a chance to. It's not an automatic, like, easy pick, but, there's not much to pick from. We got Thanksgiving and Blood Rage and, there's not, like, a beloved Thanksgiving horror movie. Christmas
Yeah,
has a few. Christmas has Black Christmas, Silent Night, Deadly Night. So it's
Krampus.
Krampus. So yeah, I look forward to rewatching it. I liked it. I think most slasher fans will like it. I think most people that like Eli Roth stuff will like it. I think
Yeah,
that a lot of people that are mixed to not really in love with Eli Roth stuff has a chance at liking this more than some of his other stuff. But to me, it still just kind of has classic Eli Roth problems in the dialogue, the characters, and I would need that to be better to call this a holiday classic or an instant classic. Like characters are important to me.
yeah,
Gore is great, but that can only get me so far if I don't give a fuck about anybody throughout the entire movie that I'm forced to spend the entire time with. So yeah, I liked it. I think that it's good.
yeah.
So
It's good. It's not the best horror movie this year.
mhm.
It's fine. If you're into it, that's great. But I'm sorry, it's not the best thing since Scream. You guys need to calm down a little bit.
Yeah, and that's what makes it hard is because I always try to acknowledge that everybody's got their own taste. So I'm
Sure,
sure there's people
sure.
that watch this that fucking loved every minute of it and liked the characters and loved the humor and laughed. I'm sure that's
Yeah.
a reality.
They're called bullies.
But way too often, especially in the horror fandom, I've noticed it seems like whatever's new is the
It's
best.
just new. Yeah. Oh,
Yes. Oh my god, awesome. And it's just like, people are very easy to please, and that's fine if you're easy to please. But what I don't like is that if you're easy to please, don't then look at somebody that wants more as
yeah.
if they're asking too much.
Yeah.
Sometimes I can walk into an action film and be like, the action was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I really liked it. And you could be like, well, the dialogue wasn't great. The character, like, yeah, but the action was what I wanted, and I had it fun enough. But I'm not
Yeah.
going to discount what the other person was saying.
Of course.
And so
Opinions are that just that. They're opinions.
that's where I get a little frustrated. It was, I wish people would meet in the middle a bit more.
Clayton, thank you, $5. This tip is worth more than Eli Roth's writing. He had help. He might have just put a little frosting on some of the screenplay, but much appreciated, Clayton. It was an all right 3.4. Aaron, there you go. Way to play right into it. And that's, believe it or not, that is the average score on Letterboxd right now, 3.4. Yeah, people are gonna like it. People aren't. And my only thought about it is I wish I had a video drop. I was preoccupied. Uh, I had two choices. I was either gonna use the Chappelle clip when he's a super freak and he's getting dragged out of the house. They should have never gave you money. Um, the fact that he had a $15 million budget, that, or there's a clip from the Golan and Globus documentary, Electric Boogaloo 2, where they're making a movie when they were talking about behind the scenes of Masters of the Universe, and Sly Stallone was like, "Wait, that's Dolph Lundgren. He's He-Man?" And they go, "Yeah," and Sly goes, he goes, "You gave him lines?" I wanted to have something to that effect.
break you.
Just have like, you gave him $15 million for a movie? And this is what you get, which is it's a shame because I can imagine Ty West made two brilliant movies for far less. Can you imagine what Tarantino could have done with that budget?
Something good.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
It's just, I'm not, again, it does sound, I'm nitpicking a lot. You're right. I had a decent time with it. I hope this does trigger people to expand. I'm really into people exploring, and perhaps I should find a better terminology, but like these gateway drug movies. If you find this appealing and start looking into other gory stuff, then that makes me happy to see people exploring something that really, for the most part, is pretty studio standard milk toast R-rated slasher. But if it gets you to explore, then awesome, because better horror, because of the horror history we have of stuff like Terrifier X, all this other stuff, It Follows, so on and so forth. There's so many different things for the horror subgenre at this point where it choice is good, is the best way I can put it. So yeah, Cody, thank you for joining me. I'll never see you again this year. Or in about 18 hours, should I say.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you all for the super chats. Dempsey Pie, though, fair point. Oh, Marcy, Devonteen
The Gray.
Danish Corner. Really? Uh, 18.
Solid.
I'm fucking pissed they didn't have a sequel.
Mhm.
There's so
I
much.
like that movie. It's good.
There's so much about Carnahan that like you just know Carnahan. Like when fuck, who is it? Who's the fucking lunatic in that movie? And he's
Charlton Copley.
Yeah, Charlton Copley. When they're in a tank and the Mr. T character wakes up and he's like, what's going on? We're we're in a tank. What? He goes, "Well, what happened to the plane? It blew up. When? Recently."
Yeah, it's a fun movie. I still haven't seen Narc. I've heard a lot of good things about Narc.
I haven't seen that either.
Smoking Aces is cool.
Smoking
I like.
Aces, you can't go wrong with that. That's fun.
I like A-Team. The Gray is my favorite. Boss Level was a lot of fun. Cop Shop, I wasn't really too high on. I had big hopes for Cop Shop. That was one of my most anticipated movies that year.
When did that come out? Cop Shop.
Cop Shop and Boss Level both came out like within a couple of months, I thought. No, Boss Level was 2020, Cop Shop was 2021.
Yeah, I haven't seen
Gerard Butler and
cool.
Frank Grillo.
Okay. The Gray. Oh, Gray's gonna go with the Gray. Woof.
Double puns.
No more puns, please. Thank you. Choice is good, Charles 2023. Yes. Choice leads to more choice, unlike us. Which by the way, they've changed the vanilla Coke can. Can you tell that this is vanilla?
No, because the glare is covering the word vanilla.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you first look at it and well, here's the old school cherry can right next to it. Thank God for the thick white.
They just made the gradient like
Yeah.
a smooth transition instead of a hard cut.
Somebody got cute with Photoshop on their vanilla Coke cans, and
the more artsy they get with the cans, the less cool it is. Where is that? Coke will never be as cool. There we go. Hang on.
And Pepsi just they just went back to their 80s logo, like fuck it, blue. Here's that logo from whatever.
Let me see.
Yes, Rob Zombie will direct another movie, of course.
Yeah, he just crowdfunds his shit now.
Yeah.
Coke. Oh, god damn it! Fucking. That's supposed to be a picture. It's like web page. Hang on. Here we go. Sorry, I'm taking forever. This was supposed to be a smooth transition.
Did the Batman crack your 100 film top 100 of all time?
I don't know.
Number one?
I don't know. I don't really keep track of movies like that. Cherry Coke will never be as cool as that can in the middle.
Wow. See, the problem
that was from the 90s.
That you can read that too, and it's definitely different. Like you can tell the difference. Like when they all just kind of look the same, it's ridiculous. Or just put them in bottles. Put them in bottles so we don't have to fucking buy cans, you jackasses.
I gotta push back on that one. Coke in a bottle tastes like shit.
Well, I drink
Coke
a lot.
in a can tastes so much better. There's definitely different formulas because I'm a Coke fucking whore.
Oh yeah, well, because it's compressed. The bubbles are more. I don't know science. In a can, it's
Somebody
much
save
more.
Me.
It's certainly more fizzy out of a can
so
than it is out of a bottle.
Do you prefer that design? Or...
It says vanilla, big and shadowy and clear like.
Or motherfucker, quit. I hate when I download a picture from Google and it's like it's a WEBP. You can't add it.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Let me just.
Coke in a glass bottle better than a Coke in a can. Yeah, well, I mean,
The glass bottle's good shit too.
yeah.
But to me, the
Best
best,
of luck finding
a
vanilla
really,
Coke in a bottle.
a really good fountain is good. But to
Yeah,
me,
you got to get the right syrup mixture. As somebody who's worked retail, or yeah. Have you dealt with those machines with the syrup?
a little bit when I worked at a skating rink. You got that can too.
I see. That's what they were like in the UK, and
Mhm.
I didn't mind that. Distinct difference. So you have this thing. And in the UK, they have Coke Zero in 1.75 liter bottles, and the letters are black, so it's no sugar because there's a sugar tax in the UK in it. So if I drink vanilla Coke, I gotta eat shit or pour a bunch of sugar in it or something. But their caffeine free is the same fucking color. So if like you have to look and read, like people, you go to a convenience store, you just grab the thing that you think it is, and then I mean I can't tell you how many times somebody's been like, shit, I got the Pepsi Max. I was supposed to get whatever the fuck. I don't know why somebody would buy Pepsi anything, let alone Max, but whatever.
Yeah,
Don't
not
be
a
a
Pepsi
Coke
fan.
whore.
Yeah, for
Dude, I'm a
me,
Coke whore.
for me, Coke in a bottle tastes like shit. I think that fountain is the next step up, just because it's so inconsistent. It's either really good or really terrible.
I'll
Uh,
gamble. Fuck it.
yeah, and then Coke in a can. If the can is cold, it's got to be cold. If it's not cold, you can't just pour it into a glass and put ice in it. It's not the same fucking thing. I argue with my wife about that
I don't
all the
like
time.
ice. I don't ever put ice in soda
I
because
have
you're
to have
watering
ice
it
in
down.
it.
You're
No,
watering it
not if you
down.
drink it fast enough. I have to. I like a chilled can of Coke poured into a glass with ice. To me, that's top level Coke.
Yeah.
Me, like I don't really drink beer or liquor or anything like that. So like a good Coca-Cola, like that to me is like my experience that I assume a lot of people have, like that beer that they have after work.
Yeah.
That's me with a Coke and ice.
Yeah. Soda aficionados can tell you the difference between a Coke in a can and a Pepsi in a can because Pepsi doesn't have that froth. There's just like no matter how fresh and tightly sealed a Pepsi can is, they're just not really big on the seltzery portion of it. And Coke, you know, if it's cold enough and it's freshly poured, it's got a big head, a frothy, you know, amount of like you don't know if I'm drinking Foster's or soda. That's how good they are with it. But I don't know how the fuck we descended here. Probably, yeah, it was my fault. Coke in a little baggie, pretty strong. Yeah.
I heard it smells good.
Wipe some on your teeth, maybe.
What are your thoughts on the first look of Beverly Hills Cop
I,
4? I
I,
invest nothing in Eddie Murphy movies until I see them,
yeah.
because I tell you what, I was fully bought in on Coming to America. I couldn't even finish it. I still have not seen the last third of that movie. So after that, I've given up all hope. I love classic Eddie Murphy. I love 80s, even some 90s Eddie Murphy. There's a couple movies in the 90s that I think are unfairly overlooked. But that guy hasn't done jack shit worth watching since like what, 2000?
Now, Dolomite is fucking good. Dolomite is
I haven't
really
seen
good.
Dolomite, so yeah, fair. Mhm.
Check that out. And you got classic Wesley Snipes in there too. And it's like, holy shit, they're back.
You know what movie he
And
did that I really liked, even though the movie is pretty hokey? Mr. Church. He did it.
I haven't seen
It
that.
came out in like 2018, something like that. But it's kind of like a hokey chick flick where he's the private chef for this little girl that's hired because her mom is dying of cancer or something like that, and she gets really close with him. It's like her surrogate father. It's a dramatic performance from him that's really good. So it's hokey chick flicky. You know, it pulls on the heartstrings in the most manipulative ways. but I thought he was good in it. But yeah, anything in regards to like legacy sequels for shit that he was famous for in the 80s, when he did Coming to America and we got that, I was like, okay, whatever. And it made me laugh at the statement that he made a couple of years ago where they were asking, like, how come he never did a fourth one? And he's like, because I haven't gotten a good script yet. I don't want to make movies just for the money. I want to make movies if their script is good. And I'm like,
Tell that to Pluto Nash.
tell that to fucking everything you've done after 2000. Like, yeah, it's just.
Yeah, the fact that that guy had such a strong stand-up career in, the span of your youngest daughter's life and
Yeah.
stopped is insane to me. Like, he
Yeah.
just stopped. Like,
Mm-hmm.
the guy was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And
he's
essentially
still on most people's Mount Rushmore.
Yeah. And he, like, he stopped at, like,
2 specials.
26. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Fucking guy was just oh. I don't know what happened, but, he should have the Seinfeld career, or I don't know, insert other comedian here, but the fact that he just stopped in his 20s and was at the tippy top. Eli Roth's Hellraiser, Rob Zombie's Texas Chainsaw. Well, we kind of had Rob Zombie's Texas Chainsaw. It's called Every Movie Rob Zombie Directs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Eli
Beverly
Roth's
Hills
Hellraiser.
Cop 3 would be the worst thing John Landis did if he didn't, kill 3 people and give birth to Max Landis.
God knows how many murders extra that is.
Did you guys change your thoughts on Dexter New Blood or the same? The same or worse? I haven't rewatched it, but I only remember the negative. That was a soul-crushing disappointment for me.
Yeah, the last I heard, they were thinking of doing something, either a prequel or a spinoff, and I was like,
I saw they announced for Paramount Plus or Showtime. Was it Showtime
yeah,
and Paramount
Showtime
Plus?
via Paramount Plus. Yeah.
Yes. Whenever they merge, they're doing a Dexter Origins show. They're doing a Trinity Origins show, and they're doing Dexter New Blood season 2 focused on Harrison. Those are the 3 ideas that they presented as in production. And I was like, no.
Yeah. Yeah. No, Michael C. Hall is that show. And
it's amazing how far away from the pulse their finger is on what their fan base wants. Like the fact that you fumbled New Blood so hard, they got demolished with so many fans being like, what the fuck did you just do? Hours before they got the results of highest earning show in Showtime's history. And they were like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. All right. They want more of this, even though they don't know what they want. They enjoyed it.
And now they're doing like the most like fucking 5-year-olds can come up with these ideas. A show on Trinity when he was a teenager. Because we didn't find out
mentality.
Because we didn't find out everything that we needed to find out about him in season 4, or a whole show on Dexter as a kid because we didn't get flashbacks of that throughout the 8 fucking seasons. Yeah,
it's like Underworld 3. Like what we've been through this. What are we doing? Somebody did it like a fan edit where they had him getting shot by Harrison, and then it's like a flash where in the first or second episode when he brings the gun to the rich kid and like he points the gun at him and he like has this vision of strangling him or killing him or whatever. And instead of that, the vision is Harrison killing him. So the edit makes it seem like, all right, that was all a dream. It was just Dexter wondering what would happen if he went down that road. If, he killed the guy with the gun that pointed to his face or whatever the fuck. I'll have to find you the link and reference it later. But it was unique. I mean, I'd give them more credit for that I mean, fuck it. Somebody else has done it. Pay them off. Let them, whatever, and try a third time to do it right. Like the fact that you just don't know your own character, and in this season finale twice is just insane. It's insane.
Yeah.
Like, why was he in a rush in that jail? Why was he in a rush? If he knew that she was going to find all those bodies, why the fuck would he be so frantic? Like,
I don't
what the
know.
fuck?
The last 15 minutes of that episode just was like a literal fucking cliff dive.
Yeah. Just I do plan on watching it again. Whenever it got taken off of Amazon Prime, I was devastated because I used to just let it just play all and fall asleep to it. And,
Mm-hmm.
every now and again, if I woke up in the middle of the night, I was like, oh, this is a good episode. They need to, if they're going to do anything with Dexter again, they need to season 2 it. Get season 2, somebody like Dokes, and just redo season 2, except Dokes gets them. I know you can't bring Dokes back, or maybe you can. I don't know what the fuck. But just copy that blueprint with a slight twist at the end where, he has that last stake with Deborah and he knows he's going away, and that's it. And, the irony is, you show somebody getting a needle in their flesh, and you pull out, and it's actually Dexter being put to death by the state. I don't know. That's my quick way to kill Dexter properly. Jesus.
Yeah. I have no interest in a third shot. If they announced it, we're going to try it a third time, I would laugh at them.
Yeah, I would too. And out of stubborn habit, I'll be there opening night and just.
Me too.
Guys,
I've been
it's all right.
watching Nip Tuck a lot lately. Did you ever watch Nip Tuck?
No.
I watched that back in the day, but I've been rewatching it, and it's been hilarious because I forgot how graphic sexually that show is from a show from 20 years ago now. It was just like, damn, they showed a lot on regular ass TV.
The Dark Passenger was a character?
I'm assuming you probably heard a lot from his perspective, which was essentially Michael
Oh yeah,
C.
for
Hall's
a book,
monologue.
sure, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, Darkly Dreaming Dexter. Is that what you're referring, Gray?
Yeah, I think the first book is like season 1 of Dexter, and then after that, it's totally different than the show.
Yeah, I feel like they shot their load because season 1 could have been its own contained series. Like they gave you so much. They could have. That's the problem with television series. You don't know what the ending is, and that was the problem with Lost. And they actually had to. The creators of Lost. This is something that I watched. Full credit to Lost Explained and Billiam. They had in their contract, they wanted to know that the series was going to end at a specific time, and ABC's like, we want to go till the like the 30th season if we can. If these numbers stay the same, we're going.
That's why I love Breaking Bad so much, because they were at the peak of viewership, and they were like, "Bye, guys."
Yep.
That's
Later.
The viewership of that show was like staggering, like season 1, season 2, season 3, season 4, season 5, season 6. And they're like, see ya.
That's the only show that comes to mind where somebody says, "Can you think of a show where every season was better than the last?" And it's Breaking Bad. It's only Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Because 1 is okay. It's like if after I watched 1, if you told me that was like perhaps the greatest series in history, I'd be like, really?
And that's the hard part when you have things like me trying to coerce Brian into it by all of my hyperbolic change my life rhetoric.
Yeah.
And it's like, get to season 2. Like, I love season 1 personally, but I've talked with people where it's like season 1 is very much a dark comedy compared to how crazy things get, especially by the end of season 2. And so I always try to tell people, like, watch the first 2 seasons before you say a fucking word. Like, don't come at
Yeah.
me with that bullshit.
Yeah. Aaron, I am excited for Napoleon, oddly enough.
Nah.
Joaquin doesn't fuck around, and
Ridley Scott is so extreme hit or miss over the last, what, decade plus. I mean, I think the only movie that he's made that I really liked in recent memory was The Martian. So
that was really good.
historic war stuff doesn't really appeal much to me. Joaquin Phoenix is great, but he's also one of those actors where I kind of feel like I know what I'm going to get. So I might see it if I find the time. It's unfortunately coming out right around the holidays.
Yeah, isn't it out
I had tickets for it yesterday
this
or
week
tomorrow.
now? Yeah, it's out now, right? Oh,
About tomorrow. I had tickets for it tomorrow, but it's another one of those fucking 3-hour movies, so it was going to run into 31 on 31, so I canceled my ticket.
Yeah, it depends. I fell for a trap where there was somebody 3 weeks ago put out Alien Covenant 2 teaser, and I was like, and like the company that released it looked legit. I'm like, holy shit, I didn't even hear about this. And then I clicked on it, and I'm like,
Fuck your movie, Fetty.
This is bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I fell for it hard. But yeah, Ridley is hit or miss, but I'm curious to see, because Ridley seemed like Alexander was fucking weird, like weird.
Mm-hmm.
I know people that really enjoy it and people that really hate it. I'm just kind of like, okay. You have blonde Colin Farrell hissing at topless Rosario Dawson, and they're just, instead of fucking, they're just like hissing at each other and whatever. But you know, he's shown he can do it, and with Joaquin, fuck, I haven't seen a really good movie about Napoleon, so I'm open to the idea. And I'm gonna have to learn a hell of a lot more about Europe and why I'm supposed to hate France so much as a adopted British person. So, what better way than through a movie?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect scene. Yes. I enjoyed Exodus, Gods and Kings, but I know I'm on an island with that. I don't think I've seen that. That's with Christian Bale, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. You need Brian in here for the Ridley Scott stuff. It's not a jab. He just every now and again,
mate, he's about to release his 31st film.
Yeah,
Shut up, Brian.
Every now and again, Brian's like doesn't understand what 31 on 31 is, and he's like, "Guys, Ridley Scott's 31st is coming," and it's like, yeah. Name me
Cool.
15 of them that people will even hear of.
I remember you were like, "Yeah, Brian, coming in at 29, The White Squall," and you were like, "Of course you'd pull." He goes, "Of course you'd pull out the most obscure fucking Ridley Scott reference."
And it's like,
director of Godfather and Thelma and Louise, and you fucking talk about White Squall.
All right. Yeah. All right. So we've gone too far. There's going to be plenty of us. Yes, Ridley Scott is the alien guy, the best alien movie, period. The horror alien. But you have the action aliens, and that's good too. They're tied. It's a Sophie's choice with those two. Black Hawk Down, I like. All right, we gotta go. Cody, we're over on your channel tomorrow doing the debrief. Everybody stop asking about the debrief.
Spoilers.
6 p.m. over on Cody Leach's channel, which is in the title. So there. Who knows what the new guy will have to say. Maybe we'll get some arguments between. Oh wait, no, they're both up Zack Snyder's assholes, so maybe not. Maybe we'll have some tag team action.
They're just gonna Eiffel Tower with their hands like this the whole fucking stream.
All right. Any last words, Cody?
See everybody tomorrow with presumably, if I get my sponsor approval, you'll get my Eli Roth ranking tomorrow earlier in the day. But regardless, yeah, see you at the debrief, and then I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do the rest of the week. I'm gonna try to do my top 10 holiday horror movies on Thanksgiving, but every schedule I make around a holiday is a maybe, so I don't promise anything.
And as a throwback, tonight's edible panties flavor is cherry Coke.